superior part of the elbow, and it's including 1/3 area, superior area fracture of the ulna, and dislocation of anterior dislocation of head of the radius, and ruptures for the underlying ligament around the radius. When you see the X-ray, you see another X-ray and the method of fixation. And there is another name which is very famous, Galaxia. Galaxia is another type of the fracture for the elbow. And as you can see, the Galaxia is in for 1/3 inferior part of the elbow. The first one, Montegia, is 1/3 of superior. The second one, Galaxia, is 1/3 inferior. Very common among the students. They actually make them different, make them actually replace them with each other. Just do remember on your mind that the first one was Montegia, and Montegia is for superior. The second one, Montegia is superior, and Galaxia is it's inferior. What's that?
Fracture distal.
A distal area, yes. This is including fracture. Have a look to the picture, please. Fracture of 1/3 of inferior distal, as you said, of radius, and it's a kind of detachment of the anastomosis between the radius and ulna. It's a kind of tear of a sheath we do have between the ulna and the radius. And also, finally, we do have a kind of dislocation at the end of the bone, at the end of the ulna area, ulnar. So, we call it Galaxia, and this is the type of the fixation. Simple screw and plate, and also two line, because the surgeon wants to provide a kind of protection for the area, keep these two bones together. Why? Because there is a distraction between these two parts, so they wanted to keep them together and don't let them to make a kind of movement or something like that. This is just simple wire, sorry?
For function, simple wire?
It's for stability. When it takes time to reach the third cortical bridging, and then we can move it in the next stage, okay? So, you know the Galaxia right now? Yes. This is one thing extra. It's very luxurious board. Is it kind of meeting?
No.
Okay. Get together. Can I join this meeting? Yeah, please. Okay. This is a very famous actual name. It's a very nice name. It's a sex lubricity fracture. Can you get it? A sex is a French actually area. French area. A sex lubricity. A sex lubricity fracture. This is the area very greenery, and the people who horse riding on there, they got from the hooves to the earth, and because they are heading to the earth with a kind of speed, so they try to keep themselves and provide a kind of rotation on their hand, so they got a kind of fracture, and the area, a sex lubricity, was considered as the name of this fracture. A sex lubricity, okay. So, it's including the radial head fracture, distal radioulnar joint dislocation, okay. And finally, interosseous membrane tear. So, fracture of the radius, end of the radius, you got it? And there's a kind of rotation, trauma with rotation. Okay. Fracture head of the radius, distraction of these two bones, and tearing of the interosseous membrane. A sex lupus. That one. Mr. Johnson got a kind of a sex lupus. Okay. He's Abu Johnson or Johnson? Abu Johnson is father of Johnson.
Yes.
Johnson is خود Johnson.
جاسم without head.
اي يعني محمد اسم الوالد.
Okay.
أقول لك قال شو اسمه؟ أقول لك قال fracture.
We are close to the last hour of teaching today. Just keep going.
How much?
Just 1 hour, I think.
No.
Come on, we have to.
Dislocation.
We have to complete everything. We don't have enough time.
Yeah.
You are small. No. Okay. So, when we are talking about the body of the elbow fracture, we talk about the Montegia, we talk about the Montegia, Galicia, and the sex lupresti. Easy, piece of cake. Okay? There is another shape of a sex lupresti. We are trying to make these two bones together and decrease risk of rotation. Fatima is asleep. Right. Okay. Okay. What is happening for the healing process? Control fracture healing. You know that. The circulation is very good. Very good. Okay. And what is the expected time for the healing process? It's about 2 to 3 months. Chat. Goodbye.
شو تريدين؟
Okay. You know, Shan is
أبغى تريدين.
much better compared to the Aston's. And the time for the rehab is about 4 months to 6 months. 4 months, 3 months to 6 months. Okay. So have a look to the area. The body of elbow fracture. I must complete this bone, and then you can leave. There is a limitation. There is a limitation for any kind of the movement in the area. Okay. Any kind of the movement in the area, elbow flexion or mid-range stable. So we must protect area of any kind of the movement. There is no strengthening exercise for the first week. And isometric exercise for the other muscles is okay. At the end of the week, if it's going to be stable, you can start to isometric at the area as well. But you must be completely confident this is a stable fracture. Okay, needs a kind of help. And weight bearing, there is no weight bearing clear. And what about the okay, for the weeks 2 and 3, if everything going to be stable, you can increase the little tension, isometry, just very simple, gentle exercise, and there is still no strengthening exercise. For pronation supination, you must consider that the rotation is the last actually movement you can reach it. So the supination is the last movement. The other muscle is okay. You are still involved with a kind of dependency, and the weight bearing, there is no non-weight bearing in this stage. And what about here? Okay. For the 1 month to 1.5, you can increase level of tension from the muscle if it's stable. if it's stable, and you are heading from the mid-range to a little wider range. So starting the isotonic from the first one, and you are starting with the concentric, with the other concentric with the other muscles. Function is a little dependent to the items, to the work you want to do that, and the weight is going to be partial weight. And finally, from 2 months to 3 months, still you must avoid for any kind of hard working or hard tension, but gentle active exercise and also active strengthening exercise can be okay. The PRE, progressive resistive exercise, can be okay. You can increase it. It can be self-satisfied, self-task, and you are heading to full weight. And after 12 months, if you are following a kind of heavy sport, such as heavy lifter, you got that Olympic actually athlete in the past Olympic, got a kind of medal, gold, or I'm not sure. He was a weightlifter. No, he was a track and field in Iraqi guy. He was track and field. No idea.
What?
What is Olympic?
Oh, yes.
Where was it made?
Type of the sport.
There is, I think, he was a Iraqi guy, so he got a kind of gold medal.
Yes.
In track and field, right?
Yes.
Track and field. Okay, so in a weightlifter, in a people who got a kind of heavy lift, so you must try to get a higher level of tension. How can you reach it? Tell me. Morning we talk about that. How can you reach higher level of tension? How can we reach higher level of tension?
Eccentric exercise.
No. What?
She said,
I explained it at least about 20 minutes for you this morning. Isokinetic. I explained it in this way, showing the device. Okay, through the isokinetic device, you can increase level of tension for sure. Okay, good job. And let me talk about the last part of this bone, which is very nice fractures, DRF, distal fracture. You do remember Colles fracture. Colles fracture. That was Colles fracture. Very common among the old ages, especially people who live in a kind of icy area, cold area. So it's kind of leaves and then you kind of fracture the area. So the elbow fracture might happen at the ending part of the which bone?
radial bone.
Radius bone. Okay. And so as you can see, we call it Colles. This is a specific name. Okay. Colles fracture may happen through an extra traumatic area when the person who got a kind of trauma, direct trauma from the bottom of the earth, but he may get a kind of full flexion instead of full hyperextension. Full flexion, he got a kind of another type of the fracture. We call it a Smythe fracture. You have the pictures on your slide. Smith, but you know, probably, I heard the Smythe. Probably he's actually, the first person who explained it was an Australian. I'm not sure, probably. And you know, the Australian, when I try to talk, say I instead of E. So, such as yesterday, to die. What are you talking about? To die, that means today. Or yesterday, that means yesterday. Probably it's a Smythe is an Australian guy. I'm not sure. Please check it and let me know as well. Okay, so this is the mechanism of Colles fracture. Wow, long time. I thought that probably miss you, but they come back. And you can see this is a Colles fracture. Forward flexion of the area and get a kind of rotation of fracture of the area. Have a look at this fracture. Is this new?
No, it's old.
Is old? Not too old. Something between. You know, the steel under the process of the healing.
The end.
But there is not
Healing.
new because there is no sharpness. And this is wrong. And it's kind of
After healing.
deterioration. That means the color going to be approximately actually vanish in the area. So that is not new. You can see it in this area as well. Okay, so the Colles fracture, and this is another different type of the Colles. At the back, hyperextension, call it Colles fracture, or DRF, distal fracture. The front, we call it Smith or Smythe, whatever you say. At the partially inside of the joint, we call it Barton fracture. That means lower end of the radius and also part of the joint. We call it Barton. And again, for the lower end of the radius and the other part, we call it, inside and outside of the bone. We call it the reverse Barton or reverse Colles. This is just a name, just here. Anything, everything is said. I told you about a specific deformity following the DRF. Fork deformity. Why the people are not using fork here? It's not popular. You know the meaning of fork?
No.
Oh, right. Why you are not meaning? You don't have any idea what's the meaning of fork? What is the fork actually in Arabic?
Show.
You know the fork?
Yes.
Yes.
Show.
Yes. Sure.
I can't see fork anywhere in the restaurant, anywhere else. I don't know.
ليش نستخدمه؟
This is not popular among the people.
Yes. Not بديل.
It's not popular. Okay, this is fork deformity. This is fork deformity. And as you can see, there is this fracture, displacement fracture at the end of the radius, displacement in the back. And you can see this is a kind of deformity, exactly like the fork. Okay? So, what is the type of the fixation for the DRF? Have a look at the fixation, method of fixation. Why you are so... Have a look at the fixation. It's kind of play. What is a white play? What about the other one? Name.
Compression.
Such a sweet, nice topic. Why you are tired? What is the name? Shah wants to say. You know that. You know. What is the name?
Compression.
Elizabeth. Elizabeth.
طبعا.
What did you say? This is Elizabeth. Okay. Do you remember Elizabeth's method? Done. Okay, this is type of fixation. And you can see Colles fracture. There are two nice inclination angles. There are two nice actually alignment angles here. You can see there is a radial inclination. Please have a look to the picture. Radial inclination. There is a line among of the head of the ulna and attachment between the ulna and radius. This is actually the horizontal line. And this line does have a kind of distance with the initial part of the wrist joint. We call it radial height. That means a kind of, you can clarify it between the head of the ciliary process of the ulna and the ciliary process at the radius. Okay, it's about 1.5 millimeter. Sorry, it's about 11 millimeter or 12 millimeter, 1.5 centimeters, something like that. So there is a distance between the head of the radius and a ciliary process head of the radius and a ciliary process head of the ulna. So it's about 1.5 centimeter or 12 millimeter. So if it's going to be higher, what is happening? So there is inclination of the hand. And so in this case, you are not reaching to full range. It's not possible to provide. You must provide a force. So from the first day you assess the patient, okay, because of the situation you have, we may not reach the full range, but we try to provide a good, appropriate range for you so that you can do your ordinary task, ordinary basis. Did you get the concept? Okay, there is another line which is radial inclination, and it's including the line of horizontal. That is the horizontal attachment line between the ciliary process and the attachment of the two bones, radius and ulna, and also the ulna, the other lines, which is completely attached to the head of the radius. So the degree of this angle is about 24 degrees. Lower than that, or higher than that, provide a kind of limitation for you to have a kind of movement. So this is two alignments can help you by X-ray to see what is the prognosis of function in this joint. I'm asking you to review it. I know you are tired. I'm asking you to review it during the time you are in the home, and just try to check it on your mind and bring it on the class again, and we will talk about that again at the fresh time. Okay, just I will complete the call structure and then you are free to go. I think it's enough for today. Okay, the call structure is a kind of endochondral bone ossification. The circulation is good. Okay, everything is fine. Takes time about 2 months for the full actually healing process, and up to 2 to 3 months for the treatment, for the rehab. And for the call structure, for the first week, you must avoid any kind of movement at the area, any movement. Clearly, exactly like the other fractures, okay? Probably at the end of the week, you may have some permission to start some simple movement. Yeah, isometric in a middle range, not in a full range. Okay, there is no strengthening exercise at all. There is no huge task or huge movement. And isometric may happen for the intrinsic muscle. What is the meaning of intrinsic muscle and compared to the extrinsic muscle?
Intrinsic inside of the area.
The muscles who originated and have kind of insertion at the same area. So, such as lumbricals. What is the movement of lumbrical? That. Such as interosseous. Such as adductor muscle for the pulse. Okay. So, your patient will be dependent to someone else for dressing, nourishing, cleaning. In the weight bearing, there is no weight bearing clearly. Okay, so very good. And see, at the second and third week, your tension going to be a little increase in front. The tension and the work for the some level of elbow or shoulder or even finger is going to be okay. There is no muscle exercise. There is no strengthening muscle exercise. And also, you must start with again isometric, gradually try to keep it to concentric, and then a little more than that. In which range? Middle range. Then you are heading to the inner range, and finally you are heading to the outer range. Okay, the function. You may need, the patient needs some kind of dependency, and there is no need in the weight bearing again. And this is the third weeks of after fractures. Again, for the 1 month up to 1.5. So you can focus just some intrinsic muscle for the thumb, for the MP, the carpopharyngeal, or for the fingers, and even some movement such as opposition, something like that. But you can increase tension in the wrist if it will be stable. If it's not stable, you cannot move. Okay? So you can start with the flexion extension. You are expecting that to reach coordination very simple, and supination as a last movement. Okay, gentle exercise, strengthening exercise can be okay when after 1.5 months. And the isotonic, you can do that. Simple functional tasks, you can do that. The weight bearing is still non-weight, but you are heading to reach the partial weight as far as possible. And so on. For the 2 months up to actually 3 months. So you are heading to increase the inner range, the outer range at the end of the 3 months, increase tension, active, as there is no assistive device, active or concentric, eccentric, any kind of the exercises you may try. The PRE is located inside here. The PRE means actually progressive rate of exercise. The isotonic, simple or moderate functional task. And finally, at the end of the 3rd month, you are reaching to full weight. You are reaching to full weight. You are estimating to get the full range and full power at the month 3. And that is the great option that you are reaching at the end of the radius, and you are confronting with lots of small, lovely fractures of wrist. And do you remember? There is a very weak bone here.
Yes.
First one is
Head of femur.
neck of the femur. Scapula. Which part? Hura, which part? The hura, this hura is asleep. Okay. Which part of the scapula? Proximal part. Because there is a very tiny actually vein around here, artery around it. And it's going to be, this is the proximal part of the scapula. You know, a lot of them there, it's mostly in relation with the end of the radius. So that means for the radius from the elbow side, you have both radius, when we are talking about the joint, wrist joint. In the elbow side, we have radius and ulna. Are we right? when we are talking about the region, okay? So we have lots of small, 8 small. The L side